Welcome to Red Rock Canyon National Conservation Area. I'm Ranger Anica, and today I'm in the Visitor Center because it's really hot outside. Last week, Las Vegas tied its record temperature of 117 degrees Fahrenheit, or 47 degrees Celsius. Luckily, there's this big, beautiful air-conditioned building I can be in. But what about the animals that live here? How do they survive? That's what I'm going to talk to you about today. Animals and the plants here have a lot of great adaptations that help them survive in this environment. And that's exactly what an adaptation is. It's a behavioral or a physical change that lets plants and animals survive in their environments. Now this is a huge topic, so I'm only going to cover animals, and I'm just going to touch the surface on how they are adapted to survive our heat and dry climate. I could do an entire program on this, so if you want that, let me know. But otherwise, here's just the tidbits. The way that I think about animal adaptations for the weather here is to put them in 5 categories. You've got the leavers, the hiders, the born this ways, the thrifty water users, and let's call them strange bathroom buddies. Now, animals might be in multiple categories, just depending on their different behaviors, so there are more categories of behaviors than categories of animals. But that's just how I like to separate them. First, let's start with the easiest one, the leavers. When it gets hot, they leave. Lame. You've got birds like phainopeplas that'll fly north when it gets too hot, and then other animals like bighorn sheep that just go to higher elevations where it's a little bit cooler. That's the easy way out. We're not going to spend too much time on them. The next category we have are the hiders. This is an easy way to escape the heat. You just hide when it's too hot. A large group of this is the nocturnal animals, which are animals that are only active at night. In the desert, it can drop 30 Fahrenheit, 15 Celsius at night, making it a much cooler time to come out. That's also probably why you think we don't have a lot of animals here, because they're not out during the day when you are. Bordering this, we have crepuscular animals, which is one of my favorite words. Crepuscular. Those are animals that are active at dawn and at dusk. So they don't need the special adaptations to, say, see at night, because they're out when it's light out. But it's right when the sun's rising and setting, which are much cooler than in the middle of the day. Other animals that are diurnal, or active during the day, hide underground when it's hot. You've got desert tortoises. They spend 95% of their life in their burrows, hiding underground. Gila monsters also spend about the same amount of time underground. It's a really easy way to escape the heat. Think about if you're in a house and you go down into the basement, how much cooler it is in the basement than the rest of the house. That's basically what they're doing. The third category are what I like to call born this way. These are animals that have physical changes that you can see, which is pretty neat. A lot of animals we have here that you might have elsewhere, like coyotes, look a little bit different. They're going to be lighter in color, have smaller bodies, and have longer, thinner limbs. All of these things help them survive here in the desert. The lighter color reflects more sun, helping to keep them cool, as well as camouflages better to what our environment looks like. The long, skinny legs are less surface area to heat up, but also helps keep the body off from the hot ground. It might be cool like a basement underground, but the surface of the ground, that's egg frying temperature right there. So it keeps the majority of the body off the ground, which helps keep them cool. And then they're smaller because there's not a lot of resources out here. It's hard to grow big and strong and tall when there's not a lot of food and water. But also, if you are big like that, you need a lot of food and water. By being smaller animals, they don't need as many resources, and so it's easier for them to survive. Other animals that have cool physical changes you can see are, for example, the black-tailed jackrabbit. As you see in this picture, it's got these giant ears, and you'll see that in kit foxes, mule deers. We have some animals with bigger than usual ears, and that actually helps them cool off. So you can see the blood vessels, and you can see through the ear, right? The skin is really, really thin. So what happens is the wind will blow through that very thin skin and cool the blood in those blood vessels, which then go through the body and cool off the entire animal. It's pretty neat. Other physical change that you might see pretty frequently here are umbrella butts. So for example, the antelope ground squirrel, the underside of its tail is white, and so when it's hot, it can flip the tail over it and it kind of acts like a little tiny parasol to help reflect some of that light. The fourth category are thrifty water users. By definition, a desert gets less than 10 inches or 25 centimeters of precipitation in a year. It's already July, and here at Red Rock, we haven't even had an inch or 2.5 centimeters of rain yet this year. How do you survive when there's no water? You have to be thrifty with it. There's a lot of animals here that get some or even all of their water from the food that they eat. You know how you've probably learned the survival trick that if you're lost in the desert, you chop open a cactus and drink the water inside? Don't actually do that. But if you're an animal here, you have these adaptations that let you get the moisture out of the cactus. One of the best water thrifters we have are kangaroo rats. They actually never drink water their entire life. Beyond getting water from the food that they eat, they have these specialized organs in their nose to absorb water from their own breath. So they'll go in their burrow underground, plug up the hole, and then the moisture from the air that they're exhaling will then get reabsorbed through their nose. Isn't that nuts? The fifth and final category is strange bathroom buddies. These are all adaptations that have to deal with going to the bathroom. It's actually my favorite category because everything is so weird. In this we have our old pals, the kangaroo rats, and their kidneys will take some of the water from urine and reabsorb it into the bloodstream, which sounds kind of gross if you think about it, but you do what you have to survive in the desert. Desert tortoises, when they come across water, say after it's rained, will suck up as much as they can and store it in their bladder. They can store 250 milliliters or a cup of water and then go months without drinking to be able to pull that water from them. That's why it's so important not to go near desert tortoises, because if you scare them, they might release all that water and then they could die. Some birds and reptiles, rather than what we do where we excrete our waste through urine, which is very water heavy if you think about it, they take the water out of the equation and they excrete uric acid, which is semi-solid. It's a great way to save on a lot of water. And speaking of urine, we have my absolute favorite, urohydrosis, which is another fun word. Urohydrosis. It's something that turkey vultures do. So, you know when you're hot and your body sweats, and that's a cooling method. So the water on your skin will evaporate and that helps cool you off. That's what turkey vultures do, except they can't sweat. So they pee on their legs. You do what you gotta do to survive in the desert. So that water on their legs will evaporate and helps cool them off. So that's all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed these tidbits on animal adaptations, and I'll see you next time.